Hi,
Hello,
I'm Julian.
and I am Tom.
We are Team Binge. We are here to talk about Widow's Bay, episode 9 of season 1 of, I hope, 12 seasons. This one was called Emergency Shelter. And Tom, it was a short one, but it was a good one. I continue to enjoy this show. And so, before we dive too deep into it, before we plunge into it, as one would say, why don't you give us the Apple summary, please, sir?
Please seek shelter should a centuries-old storm rage toward the island and plunge us into darkness. Enjoy a card game.
Enjoy a card game.
I really thought we were going to get Run. I really was hoping for Run in the shelter.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm excited to see what board games get pulled out in the town hall basement where everyone is hiding, and how a lot of these people are off-islanders. They're going to be like, I don't really want to play Run. How do you play Run? And the locals are like, listen, it's one of the best games ever. Let me teach you the rules. It's pretty self-explanatory. Just read the cards and do what they say.
I mean, it's confined quarters. That's going to be some short sprints, really.
I don't know if it's because of where you and I grew up, Tom, but I don't find storms, like, scary. I spend most of my life hoping for storms because it means rain and we get a little precipitation and water because we live in a desert where there is no water. So I enjoy the premise of, hey, there's like a storm coming in, everyone's got to go into the basement. I only lived 1 year in a place that had tornadoes, and, you know, we didn't really experience, one never touched down near us, but I find the concept, I'm always like, bring on the storm. So in an episode like this, I guess a storm is not the haunt that I'm most scared of, is if I could say that.
Yes, I guess that's a very fair point. And, you know, rest in peace, Shaman.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Is he dead? Is he dead? We don't know.
I think he, for a little while, was on the greatest trip of his life. The greatest drug trip of his life. He's like, oh, look, I'm flying. These are the best. Oh, I'm dead. So, yeah. I mean, obviously, shout out to him. He's doing well. I appreciate that they brought him back for the shortest of time. And also, we got one of our other favorite characters, Lighthouse Garrett, shows up in this episode for just some apex comedy. I loved it all. But so Tom, did you enjoy this episode of television?
I very much did. I mean, we didn't get like a central haunt that we've gotten in so many episodes that I felt were always, you know, so scary and spooky and fun to watch. But this was definitely heavy on the comedy early in the episode with some great physical comedy, some great little bits, and then allowing Rosemary to cook for probably a third of the episode.
Incredible.
To do a genealogy report. It was so fun and like hilarious. It's one of those like it goes on for so long it becomes funny again kind of deals. I enjoyed it. But yeah, definitely very much a setup, very much a cliffhanger to see where we're going to end next week.
And I love that it brought back Annoyed Tom. We got Annoyed Tom earlier in the season where he's dealing with these people in town hall and he's just constantly just annoyed, and I really enjoyed him having to sit with all that's going on and the answer that he wants. He has to sit there, and I don't watch basketball, but I believe this is called iso ball, where Rosemary just takes it to the basket and does the genealogy. I did wonder if they had, what is the Ancestry.com? We couldn't have just looked this up on Ancestry.com. We had to bring out the old, I haven't seen a projector since I was in elementary school. This was an incredible moment.
It was great. Yeah, I mean, I guess the Wi-Fi is too poor, so they have to use the old school methodology. And I even have in the notes later, this reminded me of elementary school with this thing, so that does age us a bit, but we're on the same wavelength.
Oh, just the sound of those markers on the transparent sheets, I just brought me back to not paying attention. It brought me back to not watching what was on the projector when I was in school, that's for sure. Let's dive into it. And I appreciate we're penultimate episode. We've got one more to go. I think the huge kind of like Reddit conspiracy and storyline has been the Richard Warren bloodline. And I like that they tackled it here. They gave us an answer. The internet, from what I saw, was right on a bunch of things, which typically I find the internet very, very wrong. Or at least, you know, there's places of the internet I do not go because they're so wrong. Mainly because...
Example, please?
Yeah, well, there's certain parental locks that have been put on my computer. I don't want to
Your
go
wife put
into
it
it,
on you?
Tom.
Okay.
I'm just...
Wait, did your children put it on you, or did your wife put it on you?
Listen, I'll just say she made some decisions that were probably best for both of us. It's fine. Let's move on. We're a clean podcast for kids. Let's keep going. And so I appreciate them tackling this. And once again, people who sleuthed this show picked up on a lot of these details. And I like a show that will wrap something in a package and reward like the due diligence that a viewer shows. So that was a lot of fun to get in this. And they start it with some Betty Gilpin, row in her boat with all those kids. All those kids got sick real quick. I expected her just to start. To her credit, she doesn't karate kick them off the boat. She tries to help them. Although poor Frances immediately goes into the drink. And what did she send? She sent her like a wooden box. She's like, hey, float on this. She gave her some, as you would call it, flotsam, as I would call it, jetsam, to, I guess, hold on to so she doesn't drown.
It was nice. I guess every rowboat comes with it wasn't a flotation device. It was just their box of things. I don't know, but we get that quick little close-up of the brooch, which is nice to see that. And I thought that would kind of come back as like, this is how we find out who it was, but I don't know if it does, at least yet. Maybe we'll see it again.
The painting that fell definitely is the painting people pointed out that had the brooch, but they more importantly go for the fingers. So I guess in a court of law, if you're looking at evidence and it's a brooch or a severed finger, you go first to the severed finger. I never went to law school, but I believe that's something they teach all new lawyers. You're right. In the 1700s, Tom, they did not have a typical flotation device. They just had either a hollow wooden box that they'd throw to you or a leaden box. And the leaden box didn't take. So, like, newer models of rowboat have a floating wooden box.
That makes more sense.
And
poor Frances. I mean, she was just swimming in circles with those 9 fingers.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Oh, no. We're going to get emails from all of the 9-fingered people. But they'll probably be missing some letters. Anyways, let's move on. Okay, so there's a storm brewing, and we're in modern times. So this is what the siren's for, Tom. The siren, although Wick sounds it when the fog rolls in episode 1, we find out that really the siren is for when these strong nor'easters come in, right?
I guess it's just for any weather event. Like if it's a really sunny day, they might do the siren. We don't know. It's fog or storms.
It's confusing. They go outside and they're like, wait, are we sheltering or are we going to go lay out on the beach and watch the mayor flounder in the shallows? What are we doing right now? And I appreciate the back and forth throughout this episode between Patricia and Tom. It's like Tom has kind of gone... Well, in this moment, he's not full panic mode. This moment, he's trying to keep the tourism going. There's a lot of like Jaws mayor vibes in this show. Right. It's like we need people to swim, even though little Timmy got eaten by a shark. Like, what are the chances more little Timmys get eaten by the shark? And Tom's like, what are the chances the shaman gets sucked up into a black tornado? Probably pretty small. And
Is it a Sharknado?
Like, yeah.
We don't know.
Oh, hey, very good, very good. 2 things you and I love: sharks and NATOs. I just appreciated because we get 2 arguments between Patricia and Tom in this episode. It's, hey, you got to tell these people to go to the shelter. You got to sound the siren, even though they're not going to buy cotton candy and cappuccinos. Although I would argue you could take those machines down there and still make a buck because they're going to be shut in that basement for a while. And
Smart.
then the other argument is whether or not they should commit murder, which I appreciate Patricia being, I guess, Tom's conscience in a lot of this episode.
I do appreciate the back and forth, and it is good for Tom, I think, to get this push, and having Patricia stand up to him is great. And obviously, everybody being in the shelter, we know Widow's Bay doesn't tend to do a great job with people in shelters for extended periods of time. We know it took 4 days to turn to cannibalism, so who knows? Hopefully the storm has come and goes.
I hope the finale is some good old-fashioned cannibalism. I hope they wait 30 minutes and then they start drawing straws on who they're going to eat first. I loved this moment of this random old man standing in the... We don't know who this guy is, right? Like, I don't
No
even
idea.
think Tom knows who this guy is.
I feel like this guy has clearly monologued in a door frame before because they both look at each other and like, hey, go close the door. And like as he's actively talking, the door just closes on him, and he seems to be saying something so like poignant and beautiful. Oh man, it was so great. Great comedic moment to start the episode.
Yeah, you get him being like, listen, look back in the readings of the storm of 1783. Black funnels came down and picked men up, which is exactly what happens to the shaman. Yeah. But her slowly, she doesn't even say anything to him. She just slowly closes it. And there is a lot of Tom nodding to Patricia to do something in this episode. Like here it's the door, later it's the fan. And I love their relationship. It feels very like lived in, realistic. They know each other's tics. He's heard her stories before. He knows to keep her poetry out of the pamphlet. Like, I really appreciate the Patricia and Tom show. And I'm going to be sad for it to end here when we get to the finale. But
couldn't agree more. They finish each other's sandwiches.
Oh, they definitely finish each other's sandwiches. That's for sure. All right. They finally decide, hey, like, she's like, listen, we need to sound the alarm so people don't die. And during this, Tom goes over to the wolf calendar, which I just want to go back to this. And I talked about it during episode 1. This calendar is full of pictures of wolves. And then randomly, there is a picture of a vehicle rolled over on the side of the highway. And he clocks it. It has not come into play in the rest of the show, and I just want that explained to me. And if they don't explain it to me, it's fine. But this is the calendar that he tries to Hulk out and rip up, and he just can't. See a lot of weakness from Tom in this episode. Listen, I'm not a strong man, Tom, but he seems to be struggling with some things.
I mean, rookie mistake. You go the non-binding side. That's what you start to rip first to get some momentum. He goes from the binding where the staples were, just bad idea. But maybe this wolf calendar is indestructible. You know, we don't know.
Well, that, and you don't try to rip all the pages at once. You do a couple at a time, and then, or maybe you start a couple at a time. This is what I learned from the Power Team ripping phone books for Jesus when I was a child. Something that I've thought a lot about, and I could not help but think that Tom would not have made it onto the Power Team.
No.
But that's a different story for another time. He then, in a rage, goes to the biggest painting that anyone's ever had hanging in an office, struggles to get it off the wall, this is like the clown painting in The Office, I think, in Jim and Pam's house. It's just like it comes with the office, it comes with the house.
Yeah,
I loved all of this.
Structurally integral, yeah. And like the physical comedy of him yanking it off the wall and then like going back and forth and then finally getting it to fall on him. All while nobody's really helping him, and Patricia is like essentially solving some of this puzzle. It's so good. I love this whole physical bit.
Him wheezing under the frame, Rosemary coming in and being like, Tom, don't speak. Let me help you. Oh, my sciatica. And Dale being like, oh, no, Rosemary. Like, no one cares about Tom. And then finally when Kenny, the janitor, picks it up, he picks it up without like any issue. All of this was pure Rosemary, 100% the star of this episode. So good.
She's so good. Listen, it's just smart safety from Rosemary. We don't know, he could have a neck injury, you don't want to move it, and she decides to be the one to move it. She's the best, and I love that we got her more in this episode.
She's a hero. She's the hero that Widow's Bay needs. Deserves. But will she live long enough to become the villain, Tom? That's the question that's the question that Christopher Nolan asks us to ask of our superheroes, like Rosemary.
Not smoking all those cigarettes, man.
Oh, man. Didn't this episode make you want to smoke? That's all I could think about. I wish we could break this pod right now so I could go have a Philip Morris, an American Spirit cigarette. Goes down smooth. They're toasted, as they say in Mad Men, you know?
Incredible. Yeah, smoking is everywhere in shows. It's coming back, and I don't love it.
Oh, man. I love it so much, Tom. I wish I was ripping a dart right now. tell me about what our good friend Patricia discovers during Tom's unfortunate pinning of the painting. What does she clock?
This is so great. Yeah, so she clocks the finger and then takes it back to the diary, and like little Frances getting her finger ran over, losing it. So then she essentially untangles the whole Warren genealogy concept. And then we find out from Tom, like at first I'm like, oh, are they going to be able to figure out exactly who this is? But like, no, there's 400 years worth of genealogy and ancestry to get through, which I kind of appreciated the show. I felt like as like a dumb audience member, I was like, oh, okay, so we're just going to know exactly who this is. But no, this is going to be a lot to unpack, and boy, do we unpack it.
Oh, it led to the highlight of the episode. And yeah, I had the same thought. I was like, oh no, he's going to slap his forehead and be like, Francis Fisher, not Warren. My wife's maiden name was Fisher or something like that.
Right,
but I appreciate how they did it. All of this leading to he recovered pretty quickly. I'm not going to lie. He doesn't seem to be. He was laying under that painting for quite a while, not helping himself. But they sound the siren. And this brings us back to the sheriff and his wife, which in the recap, they reminded us at the end of the last episode, we find out that his wife is pregnant, and Patricia is like, hey, you cannot have this kid here. You can tell that the sheriff has like taken this to heart. Oh, Tom, I want to say Patricia should never not be without a shotgun. She should have learned from last episode.
Agreed.
She should have, every meeting she sat in this episode, she should have had her trusty shotty next to her. That's all I want for Patricia. She is, I love the internet has taken like the pictures of her holding the shotgun on the boogeyman and made it a thing. And I just want more of it. More Patricia, more of her and her shotgun. Her and Rosemary should have a spin-off show where they don't lift paintings and they shotgun boogeymen. I'm just super excited.
I think this is like a common nomenclature because we've said it on pod. We're not huge horror fans, but essentially she's the final girl, like the one that essentially survives till the very end. Okay. And I think she kind of put her stamp as one of the best final girls ever.
Yes. No, incredible. And that's an interesting term that I will now use. I will add the final girl to my lexicon, and I will use it poorly for the rest of my life. Thank you for giving me that, Tom.
You were the final girl back in high school, right?
That is the name that I danced under. Yes, sir. Okay, so let us go to the ferry, which I love the sheriff's optimism. This ferry seems to shut down at the drop of a hat, much less a hurricane is coming. And he's like, maybe these guys will take us off island. And his wife's like, what's wrong with you? They will not. And by the way, I'm not getting on that boat. Like, this is how we definitely drowned. And so he's like desperate, and Wick shows up. And I thought for a second we were going to get Wick as a volunteer of like, hey, I'll get you off this island. But instead, he just talks some sense into him about the range of boats. I guess he was going to take the little motorboat and try to make it, which I'd love to know what the MPG of that motor is. What's like, it'll only make it 15 miles. And I was like, that can't be right. I guarantee on a full tank of gas, that boat goes a little bit farther. But Tom, I'm not Wick. I'm not a captain of a boat. You know, I'm not a skipper, as they say.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a professional in this. And he gives us a little bit more kind of backstory of the geography here, right? It's 40 miles away. You're not going to be able to get there on this boat, even if you can fill it up. And obviously, he's got a very pregnant wife here, seemingly 9-ish months pregnant. So to be taking her out on the waters doesn't seem like a great idea when two of the Gordon's fishermen just came in from their boats.
That's so funny that you bring this up. I will digress by saying someone asked me if I liked lemon pepper wings, and I was like, no, they're disgusting, and they're disgusting because Gordon's fishermen, those fish patties that our parents used to like shove down our throats when we were kids. The ones my parents got were lemon pepper ones, and they're disgusting. So this is the second Gordon's fisherman conversation I've had in like 36 hours. So I say no thank you to Captain Gordon Fisherman, or whatever his name. Was his first name Gordon and his last name was Fisherman? That's a weird name.
He only had one profession he could get into.
Yeah, listen, buddy, when you're growing up, you're going to go catch fish for a living, okay? And he's like, yeah, all right, let's move on. All right. What?
I do want to call out, though, before we go too far out, like, there's like on the ferry docks, there's like a map of the the ocean or the water or whatever there, and there's like a map I think on Tom's computer in the earlier scenes, and I think Apple even like released an image of it, and I just want to kind of call it out here because if you do look at the map of Widow's Bay, it does kind of look like fingers and like almost kind of has a thumb and the little inlets and like peninsulas and stuff on it.
Sure.
So I think it's a brilliant little call to like the hand that we've seen Tom draw when he was on drugs and what the other guy that the shaman kind of told the story of. So it's like, we took it as a comedic bit of them just drawing turkey hands, but the fact that they are just essentially drawing the island, and I really, really love that bit, and I just wanted to make sure we pointed that out. Sure.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. Yeah, the island either looks like a hand or it looks like a turkey. Could go either way. Means the same thing, So, but yeah, that's good. What did you take from the conversation where Wick is like, hey, what have you told your wife? And the sheriff's like, I have not told her anything. So she thinks he's just acting like a crazy person because at no point did he sit her down and he's like, hey, I got stabbed at the gas station by a faceless maniac. He's like, have you ever seen Halloween? She's like, no, I haven't seen Halloween. He's like, have you ever seen Friday the 13th? She's like, no, not really big into horror. We've been married for a long time. How do you not know this about me? And he's like trying to describe the guy that stabbed him, who they immediately cremated and was clearly an evil demon. And he has not explained any of this to her. He's just like, I need to get you off the island because I don't want our baby born here. That's a really understanding wife, if I'm being honest. And from my experience, the more pregnant, they get less understanding when you try and send them on a 40-mile boat ride in the middle of a tempest, Yeah,
that's all fair. And before we get any letters, Friday the 13th was Freddy Krueger and not Jason Voorhees. So apologize for Julian's poor horror knowledge.
I apologize. I've never apologized once in my life. I'm not going to start now, Tom. No, thank you. But what did you take from him? Why did Wick clock that?
I'm just assuming, what do you tell your wife in this situation? Like, there's a supernatural element that's coming for your baby, and we have to have this baby off the island, or else the baby can never leave the island.
Sounds good to me, honey. I'm glad I married you. Let's get off this island. That's exactly how communication should work, Tom. Listen,
it should.
If we had been lucky to meet each other before we met our wives, I think we would have been an incredible married couple that would have communicated quite well. But
I disagree. Have you listened to our podcast?
That's fair. All right. I did not know what to take that, and I'm wondering if at some point this is going to leave Wick having to explain to the sheriff's wife what's going on, and he's going to have to fill in the blanks. And I do like what you called out in the last episode, which was you're hoping, and I'm in the same boat, although the boat I'm in goes 40 miles over water, is that the sheriff and his wife, their story is like the hopeful one, that they make it out and prove that the curse is broken. Although we might be having a baby in the basement of Town Hall in the finale, Tom.
Baby in the Basement. That was my college band name.
Nice. Yeah. I remember not going to those shows. You were like, hey, you want to come out and see me and my band, Baby in the Basement, play? And I was like, no, Tom, I don't have an excuse. I just don't want to go. All right, let's go to the storm shelter under Town Hall. This seemed cozy, I guess. Kind of lovely, maybe.
It had a number, too. It was number 3, so I guess there are multiple storm shelters. Are we in the impression that people are in multiple shelters throughout the island, or is everybody in this one?
I got the sense that these are the tourists. So the majority... Here's how it's going to go, Tom. The characters we've met that mean something to us will be in the shelter, as well as a bunch of nameless red shirt tourists will be in this basement. But yeah, I would assume also like certain houses have individual storm shelters and basements. There's that one basement that everyone loves to go down to where there's one chair and it's not hooked up to electricity, and if you lean too far forward you fall into a hatch that feeds you to the island's heart, I guess. Not a lot of people hanging out down there.
I'd go to the motels or the hotels. They got entertainment there. They got those board games, they got a clown.
The last place I would be in that crawl space. I don't care if a nuclear bomb hits. I'm not crawling in that crawl space. But they're all in the basement, and this leads to he has a brief moment with Evan, where Evan's like, hey, man, we can go to the baseball game some other time. And Tom's like, what? What are you talking about? I was never going to take you to that game. Those tickets weren't even real. I just wanted you to calm down and be a good son. But
I feel like Evan took this pretty well, right? He seemed relatively chill as opposed to him being kind of like a jerk through all these previous episodes. He was like, yeah, no problem, Dad. We'll get the next one.
Oh, I think he's being a teenager where he's just adding this to the grievances. He's like, I'm going to be able to pull this out sometime about how he didn't take me to the Red Sox game. Instead, he tried to save the whole town from black tornado funnels, So he's
Yes,
just
that's fair.
he's just collecting debts like a Lannister. All right.
I do appreciate that Tom does a quick thing as all the tourists are like making their way down into the shelter. He's like, I'm pretty sure it's hitting Martha's Vineyard pretty hard right now. Like trying to throw it under the bus. That was great.
That was great. He's still selling. Always selling, this guy. Oh, man. He's Alec Baldwin and Glengarry Glen Ross. He's always closing. All right.
ABC, baby.
Speaking of things that are closed, the generator's broke. That's unfortunate, which means they need some sort of part from the lighthouse generator, which leads to just a very special moment where Tom, let's just talk about it here. Tom has to communicate with, I believe his name is Garrett, via radio because he has no phone. And just the swap of him going to the lighthouse and then looking back, all of this is incredible. Just comedy gold.
Oh, man. Yeah, seeing Garrett again through the same lens of binoculars is like the first time you see the guy. And then when, he does show up on the complete opposite end was just poetry and fantastic. And I do love how the way Tom finds out that he was gone is because he reads the note saying emergency, went to town hall, which, again, brings up the Arrested Development quote. This is why you always leave a note.
You always leave a note. I wish I would have known we were out of milk. I would have gotten it sooner. And then, oh no, this guy lost his arm. And that's why. Anyways, let's move on. What a great show. But the to your point, the binocular work in this episode was just incredible. And honestly, I didn't think Garrett was long for this world, but I'm glad to see that he's thriving. Tom, could you have been a lighthouse captain? Could you have lived alone, just monitoring? I guess you just change light bulbs all day long? Is that what you do?
Do you know me at all? I would die in like a week.
Well,
I would just stare at the light probably. I'd be like a moth to a flame.
They'd find you there. He stopped feeding himself and taking in water. He died near the light. Yeah, you would do poorly. I think most humans do poorly. It takes a special individual like Garrett, top-notch individual like Garrett to run a lighthouse. During all this, we also get a part where Sheriff and his wife, who are now headed to the basement of Town Hall, she is having like contractions. So definitely going into labor in the finale. Is this a 100%? How much money would you put on it, Tom?
Ooh, I don't know what the over under is here, but yeah, just enough for the audience to be like, are we having this baby in the season, or are these just? And she kind of says that it's like, I can't remember what they're like, Braxton Hicks, whatever, like kind of fake contractions. She's trying to hope it is, but yeah, I mean it's a TV show, right? She's gonna have a baby.
Yes,
it's like when Principal Belding in Saved by the Bell, his wife had the kid in the elevator. You remember that episode, right? I know you're a big Saved by the Bell fan.
No, I don't remember that episode, Tom. It's not that I don't remember it; it's that I never watched it because I hate that show and I shan't ever watch it. Which reminds me, Tom and I are doing a rewatch podcast on Saved by the Bell, all 28 seasons. So it goes from their college time to death, I'm assuming. Or wait, are they in high school? I don't care. Let's move on. All right. During all this, it's also noted that Wick sees the painting that has been destroyed, which I gotta be honest, Tom really destroyed what is probably a pretty important and ancient artifact and doesn't even apologize. But Wick finds it. He sees the diary. And this is where I thought this was going to be a Jerry job. Jerry seems like the one from the Historical Society that would do this. But apparently, Rosemary's job is to drive Tom around, smoke cigarettes, gossip, and do the genealogy of the town. That's her job description, which sounds like the raddest job in the world.
I almost feel like the gossip parts and like little nuggets we've gotten throughout the whole season is essentially leading up to this moment, right? Because she just knows like all the scuttlebutt. She like knows everything about everybody's lives and is like in on it. So this is probably what she's doing in her spare time, is reading up on these people.
That makes sense. And boy, does she come through. I love their system as well, but let's save it until we get there. The obviously Tom makes a trip out to the lighthouse. He makes a trip back. I did appreciate this episode being, I guess, less scary. I did not find myself. There are some moments where, once again, if the storm was the thing I was supposed to be scared of, it just didn't hit me in the way. And please don't email us at teambingepodcast@gmail.com about how a storm took your great grandpa and I should be scared of storms. You're not going to trick me. I'm not scared of storms. I won't be. Never again.
I've seen Twister. It took little Helen Hunt's dad. That was so sad.
If only he would have moved away from the hatch, he would have lived. Instead, he like held on to the door and used it like he was parasailing. What was wrong with that guy? We have, I believe this is the moment where Tom is outside of town hall and the storm is forming into little fingers of God that are picking people up. And who does God choose in this moment to bring forth but the shaman who showed up? I didn't even know if this was the same actor. They could have had, it was so dark and that tornado happened so quick. I didn't even know who this was.
It was so fun, and like his like bag opens up, and he starts like reaching for everything. And I assumed it was like just all of his drugs, and he was trying to pick them up. But he's like essentially picking up tube socks. He's like, "I really need these socks," and that ends up him getting flown into the air, or I guess sucked up. It was brilliant, and poor shaman.
Yeah, I like that Tom goes inside, doesn't say anything to anyone. He just witnessed a guy plucked off the ground, thrown into the air. And he says nothing because
I think he does tell Patricia, "Hey, nobody should go outside." Like, so he knows there's supernatural-ish.
But he does not expand. He's not like, "Hey, you remember Shaman?
No.
Shaman, I just saw him go flying." Like, but this is where Patricia informs us that most of the people have gathered, but I guess of the staff, Ruth is still at home. And Tom's like, "I'll decide whether or not I want to go get her, or if we want to go get her." He's. I don't know. Tom has some heroic moments, and in this episode, I see the turn in Tom in terms of he's taking charge, he's doing things, he's driving to the lighthouse. We're gonna have him make some decisions here after we do the genealogy that I appreciate. But this leads to Wick being like, "Hey, I've got to show you guys some stuff." So. I mean, this could have gone on for 10 minutes. This could have gone on for 45 minutes. I loved all of it. Rosemary just sitting down, lighting a cigarette, and Tom's reaction to it. Just so good. Just so good.
Having Patricia turn on the fan, and then Rosemary immediately is like, no, that's too loud. I can't concentrate. You got to turn that off. It was so funny.
Oh, so good. So good. And so this is where we chase down that there's one last living descendant of Richard Warren. And I love that she knows the answer, but she's like, "Hey, I'm going to walk this through with you guys and show you just how much work I did." And
she did do a lot.
I mean,
just handwriting all of this was impressive.
Oh, so good. And just the X's. And so we find out that Francis was fished out of the water by Barnabas Fisher. Once again, a guy whose name led him to his occupation.
Whaler.
And I really appreciated... We had, I believe, in the Sea Hag episode, the conversation about the sea captain, the old sea captain that fell in love with like a 16-year-old, and Patricia being like, "Oh, how old was she? Why does the older guy always He's like, she's like, "I always think it's weird when we call it true love when this old guy essentially like stalks a child." And same thing here. It's like she's like, he waited until she was 14 and then they had a different, creepier conversation. And I was like, well, 1700s, I guess. I don't know. They did things differently. And then Yeah, yikes is right. But Rosemary going, dead baby, lesbian. Just, she did it multiple times. And Patricia's, just all of it was comedy gold. Just so good.
Oh, yeah. She's like saying all this stuff so flippantly. And then, yeah, her Patricia's response is like, you really shouldn't say it. And she's like, what? I can't say lesbian anymore? It's like, well, it's the way you say it.
The way you say it, which is so true. Oh, her saying a family that swims together drowns together. And Tom going, that's not a saying. And her petulantly refusing to go on until he apologizes. Oh, man. Tom, I will... listen, I'm adding it to the lexicon. The family that swims together drowns together. Just big red X's over a bunch of names. I feel
like she made
so
comment
much.
to like the first inaugural swim or something like that. And like that was part of the not saying, but... I mean, yeah, she's cooking with gas here, and I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, I feel like because of the drownings, that led to the mayor then needing to do the swim where he's like, the water's safe, everyone's good to swim now. So this show is just so well written in terms of the callbacks, in terms of the history. I don't know, they had a plan, they're sticking to it. And I just appreciate the thought and process that went into it. So big shout out to the creators and writers of this show for doing a great job. And Tom, I mean, I've always been saying, Tom, the family that swims together drowns together. You know, that's why you always swim alone is how the rest of that saying goes. All right. So we go through the lineage. Oh, the other thing I want to add is I just want to know more about the guy that built the submarine. I love that so much. I loved it.
I feel like there's so many like little calls of like, yeah, the duo of the submarine, something about like a family that was murdered, and then she like whispers under her voice like it was the husband, like she wanted to tell the full story but couldn't get a chance to. Like each one of these could be a spin-off season that I hope we get.
I'm very excited for the people on Reddit to break down every side comment she makes and dive into it. It's just so much fun. Ultimately, this leads to a picture of a beautiful young woman who was Miss Widow's Bay, 1959. The timing's perfect.
Yeah, like throughout the whole thing, there's supposed to be the storm raging outside, and we don't hear anything. But the second she says Miss Widow's Bay, 1959, it's like lightning clap, and then they all kind of like lean in a little bit more to hear who it actually is. It was poetic, and I loved it.
Yeah, very Agatha Christie. We're all learning like who the suspects are, who did it, all of that stuff, leading to Ruth Livingston, which
dun dun dun.
I think people have talked about Ruth. I don't think this was the most popular choice. I was still swayed towards Wick during this episode. In fact, she starts naming off some relatives towards the end, and Wick definitely like clocks the names. And I was like, oh, it's definitely going to be Wick. Although the moment Patricia tells Tom, hey, everyone's accounted for, but Ruth is at home, I was like, oh, it might be Ruth. So I'm not going to claim I knew. In fact, I was very, very wrong. But I appreciate like what this leads to in terms of the conversations about what they need to do next and like the
what do we know about her health?
Yeah,
Tom's first question.
What do we know about her health? She's lived a long life. Wick's like, she's not married, she doesn't have kids. Patricia clocking all this, being like, well, thank goodness it's not me. You guys would have already murdered me. And once again, Patricia being like the ethical voice here, while these two are so deep in the haunt and like what it means, and they both truly believe. And I think it's very funny that we have seen this journey from Tom of Wick being the crazy person, and ultimately we've gotten to episode 9 and Tom seems to be bought in. Whether or not his humanity will allow him to extinguish Ruth, I don't know. But I could have done with 15 more minutes of this episode, to be honest. The end came and I was like, I want more. But I think they set the finale up very nicely, and I mean, I don't know that the conversation really needs to be, is Tom going to murder Ruth? But they definitely have set that conversation up.
Yeah, and it was fascinating that it ends up being Ruth, because regardless of like what happens in this next episode, like Ruth obviously is an elderly woman. So like, will this curse truly like stop? Maybe not in the next episode, but like in the nearish future, because she doesn't have any grandchildren or anything else to be able to continue the line. I'm wondering if Tom did do something when he was on his little trip that maybe extended the curse or did something, right? Because we know he had some sort of contact, I think, with this demon, the island, whatever it ultimately is. I'm quite fascinated where they kind of go with it. And I am kind of glad, like I think I had my chips in the Evan basket.
Sure.
And I'm kind of glad it's not, because again, that would have been kind of difficult to watch, like how Tom would react if he knew his son was the last one. Like, where do you go from there from a story perspective? Because obviously he's not going to dispatch of his son like he's considering with Ruth.
Right. Yeah. This is like poor on us for the conflict being, if it was Evan, we just wouldn't have believed Tom would murder him. But because it's the old unmarried, non-parent lady, we're kind of like, oh, well, Tom and Wick are making some good points. And
I think it's more about her work performance than anything.
You think so? I honestly wish it would have been Kathy, the waitress that gets everyone's orders wrong. It would have been great. They would have told everyone, the town would have immediately gone out and murdered her, and the hunt would be over immediately. What was... Mitch is the weather guy? Who is Mitch? Have we met Mitch before? He seems to be on the radar, and then I guess, does the funnel get him while he's on the phone with Tom?
I don't know. I mean, because there was other time when Tom was going to a lighthouse and the radio was kind of clocking and weird, and I couldn't really make out what the radio was doing, if it was playing like old-timey music or something, but he essentially couldn't turn it off. So I imagine, like, similar to the radio when they were out on the sea, this is some sort of like island hauntness kind of going on. And I don't know what did happen to Mitch. And I guess, was he the one that he called earlier and told him to look at the like weather
Doppler,
radar and that kind of thing? Yeah. So I don't know. Like, he certainly seemed to be in some form of distress. But is he on island or is he mainland dude?
Well, he's the one that, when he told Tom, he said, we lost contact with the mainland 20 minutes ago. So I'm assuming he's the guy that sits in some sort of weather tower somewhere on the island. So
he's the guy on the radio. Okay.
He's the guy on the radio, the guy in the van, the guy on the computer. And something tells me he's with the big spirit in the sky now, Tom, because it did not sound
really?
good.
Way up in the sky.
Call. Way up in the sky. I love the shot of them ending this. He's putting on the rain slicker. It's like shot from almost like floor or waist height through the partition, and you see him walking out the door, and it's just like, what's he gonna do? Like, how is Tom gonna handle this? How is Ruth gonna handle it? I mean, Tom struggled with a calendar and a painting. Are we sure that Ruth can't take him? I'm throwing this out there. If he goes at Ruth, I think he's in for... Ruth's got some tough old bones, I would say.
I mean, it depends. If Tom has a recliner, he might stand a chance.
That's fair. He
has a history of flinging women, elderly women, over the top of himself on a recliner.
Oh, that's great. I mean, we're going into the finale. I don't know that I really want to do predictions. I don't know... I mean, the question is just, do we solve this show in the finale? I like what you brought up. Has Tom done something when he was talking to God or whoever that was on the toilet, which is a funny way of saying that? Did he make a bargain that extends this out? Or, I mean, if he did, then Ruth doesn't matter, truly.
Right.
But... I'm interested to see. This show has been so popular that I would love it to continue, and I'm sure it'll get renewed. The question would just be, do we stay with Widow's Bay, or do we kind of move to a different locale but keep the same spirit of the show? I don't know, but
And I don't know for sure, but I feel like I have read an article or two where like a lot of the cast is excited to return for the show. And I believe, is it Kate or Katie Dippold that is kind of the main writer for this? I think she does have like thoughts and ideas for what she would want to do with the season 2. And it's like if the show was on like, I don't know, Netflix or Amazon, then I'd be like, yeah, it's probably ready for the chopping block because they love to just cut shows. But like Apple knows when they have good shows and good writers and good people working on them. And I can't imagine this is the most expensive show that they have. You know, it's relatively contained. This has got to get more seasons.
Well, I mean, they had to build an island, Tom, and those tornadoes aren't cheap. You gotta ask God. God doesn't work on scale. You gotta ask him to make a tornado. Come on. Anyways, we're excited for the finale. Tom, do you got anything that you want to pitch before we go into audience corner, or anything you'd like to throw out there so that when we get to the finale, you can say, I was right, I predicted it? Because I got to be honest, I really hate when you're right, and you are right a lot.
No, I'm not going to throw anything out there. I'm kind of with you. Like, we can probably pick this thing apart. We can probably go in the Reddit threads and get some general sense, but I do kind of love the mystery of it. And I think it'll be fun and satisfying because, like you said, this show is written so well, and they throw these little Easter eggs in there that whatever they do land on, I think there's going to be such great rewatchability in the show to go back and see these different things. Like even like you said, when first episode they went to the little historic society, you can see the murder mask, you can see some other stuff in the background. Like another thing I clocked too was like a woman in a straitjacket, like a straitjacket on a dummy, which is very clearly calling to like Tom's wife and her kind of like insanity and having to go to an insane asylum. Like
sure.
There's just all this little great stuff that I have so much faith in this closing out well. I don't need to have it to guess it to be enjoyable.
Sure, I'm with you. I'm ready for the finale, although I wish the show would continue on after that. So let's go into Audience Corner, Tom. Audience Corner is brought to you by viewers like you, and we just want to say we really appreciate...
I thought you were going to say
cigarettes, and viewers like you. Tom and I just want to say we enjoy hearing from you. And so a couple of emails that we got. John M. Welcome back, John. John's been with us since the Lasso days. He's joining us for Widow's Bay. So thanks for coming back, John. We don't know where you went, but welcome back. Sally Lewis, she was reaching out about Rooster. I don't know if she's catching up on Widow's Bay, but they're like the same show, you know? And
pretty much, yeah.
Then the big one we want to
terrifying.
talk about is Merlin's beard. Merlin reached out to us, and I love that Merlin mentioned he was talking about the show, and he really wanted to point out that he was married with a healthy social life. Merlin, with a name like yours, we knew you were locked down. I mean, you probably had a dozen choices, and so you don't need to explain to us. We love hearing from you, but he was pointing out that he was like a huge horror fan, and this show kind of hits those wickets that he enjoys. And so I think it's funny that you and I, coming from not the horror fan side, still enjoy a show like this. And so I don't think tickles both sides is something that grown men should say about each other, but I just want to say thanks for reaching out, Merlin. And yeah, Tom and I are, well, I'm a self-proclaimed coward. Tom's pretty brave, but we're not huge horror fans, but we are loving this show. So thanks all of you that have reached out. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, and there's another, I think, longtime listener, Melanie, on I think Twitter has reached out to us a handful of times, and I know she's a big horror fan and has, again, sung the praises of this show. So it's definitely bringing in people that like that element and I think are enjoying the little bits of comedy thrown in, because it's like, you know, cowards like us being able to have the comedy is probably the reason that we are staying. That plus the great acting and writing and everything else that goes into the show. So real quick, I'll jump over to, we got some more 5-star reviews through Apple Podcasts. Like I said, if you want to leave us a 5-star review, we will go ahead and read it on pod. So again, we can't thank these people enough for doing this and taking the time. It really helps us get our name out there and grow the show. So big shout out to Wienermax111, which is just a phenomenal name. But enjoys the laughter, the giggling, the smiling. She's like, I think she calls out you, Julian. She loves your humor. And I guess like my back and forth banter, it's like chatting with an old friend from high school, which me and Julian go back all the way to high school. So we'd love to hear that.
Tom, why do you think Wiener Max 111 is a woman? What's going on?
Oh, did I say woman? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming Wiener Men was taken, so they had to go with Max.
Sure. Yes. Oh no!
I don't know, man or woman. We appreciate the the review.
We also have one it's tough to be a clean podcast out there. It is.
It's just a big fan of hot dogs. We've got Maverick, I'm assuming from Top Gun.
Yep.
Enjoys our pace and back and forth banter. Also watched Rooster and is enjoying us for this show. Almost gave us 0 stars because of your mix-up between Jack Johnson and 311, but was kind enough to give us a 5-star review.
Maverick, I completely understand oscillating between 0 and 5 stars based on one fact that I got wrong about a band that you love. I apologize. Oh, no, wait, I never apologize. I've never apologized before. I'm not going to start now. Thank you, though, Maverick. We appreciate it.
Love it. BKD65 says he adores this podcast, enjoying our back catalog, which we really greatly appreciate. Because again, if you're enjoying us and have just joined us for Widow's Bay, we've done all of the great shows, especially on Apple TV. So if you've got Apple TV and you're watching this, go check out some of our other stuff. And this person also said that they started rereading The Good Book. So good for you, Julian.
Yeah, listen, The Good Book is worth a read. We'll just say that. I often go back to it.
And then last but not least, we had Team Patricia. So I'm assuming somebody creating an account for Widow's Bay, which we
awesome.
love. Found us via the show and delighted by our thoughts and funny commentary. So again, huge shout out to everybody that has been joining us for this, because this is definitely one of our bigger podcasts. We've found a really fun audience with this one, and please keep the reviews coming if you haven't left one already.
Yeah, and you can reach us at teambingepodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Reddit, which I don't know if that's healthy, but we're on there as Team Binge. By all means, say hi. Tom handles the other socials because by court order I'm not allowed. Tom, what are those other socials?
Yes, at Team Binge or at Team Binge Podcast. Obviously, we're doing the penultimate here, so if you have thoughts and theories about what you think is going to happen in the finale, I know we didn't go too deep into it on this pod, but we'd love to hear it from our audience. So please reach out to us on the socials and let us know what you think. I think we'll probably end up doing a recap podcast after we completely finish the season, so maybe we can kind of take some of those theory crafting and see where we land for the rest of this season and think about what might and could potentially happen in season 2. So definitely stay tuned for that. And new shows coming up. We do have Silo coming up, which is another Apple show. So if you're enjoying our shenanigans here, we've got season 1 and 2 coverage of that. And I believe the next season comes back in a couple weeks. So join us for the fun new shows.
Once again, we thank you all for joining us. And for Team Binge, I have been Julian.
And I have been Tom. Till the finale, everybody. Take care.